Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is responsible for what just happened in Ceuta, or at least that's what a lot of people like Argentina's Javier Milei want you to think. But it's false, and that's myth number one. The president of Argentina said Sánchez orchestrated this crisis so he could later give migrants Spanish nationality and win their votes. Once again, he proves he has no idea what he's talking about. See, that's not how the recent migrant regularization in Spain works. The law applies only to some undocumented migrants who were already living in Spain before a specific cutoff date. Over 1 million people applied before the cutoff, and we still need to see how many get the papers. By the way, 70% of those people came from Latin America. Anyway, the people who swam into Ceuta last week do not qualify. They're completely unrelated situations. Myth number two. The invasion succeeded and the migrants are now on their way to the rest of Europe. Nope, false. Not surprisingly, this is probably the most viral claim of them all, pushed by far-right politicians like J.D. Vance, Nigel Farage, and Germany's Alice Weidel. You see, Ceuta is not mainland Spain. Although it's Spanish territory, it has its own border controls, which means anyone leaving Ceuta by ferry or plane for mainland Spain must first pass through police checkpoints. In other words, reaching Ceuta does not mean that you're reaching Europe, no matter what they say. And in fact, by the end of the weekend, the overwhelming majority of migrants had already been returned to Morocco. Myth number three. Ceuta and Melilla are Spanish colonies. Now, this narrative exploded online during the crisis, fueled by, well, this guy. But it's not true. Yes, Morocco wants both cities and says they are the last remnant of European rule in North Africa. But internationally, they are recognized as part of Spain. Not a colony, but literal Spanish territory since 1580. Morocco became a country in 1956. They're also not on the UN's list of territories awaiting decolonization. So if the argument is simply that territories should belong to the country it's physically attached to, then Alaska would be Canadian. Calling them Spanish colonies isn't how international institutions classify them. Myth number four. Italy has closed its border with Spain. Not exactly. Italy has temporarily reintroduced border checks, which is allowed under the Schengen rules during exceptional circumstances. It means that authorities can randomly ask for your passport or ID when you enter. What it doesn't mean is that people in Spain are banned from traveling to Italy or that free movement has ended. There's a big difference between border controls and closed borders.